Thank you for taking this moment to breathe and to listen to what can change your life forever. My name is Ragnar Zirikas, and I'm the founder of Starpreneur TV, How to Dominate the Decade talk show, World Women Conference and Awards, the creator of Core Desk, the coach of the Changemakers, and co-author of the book From Zero to Success. My mission is to empower through education, and I want to congratulate you because today, by taking the time and investing in yourself, you're doing an incredible job by really taking care of your personal growth. And today's guest is going to help you to go to the next step with your personal growth. But who he is, you're going to know in a second. So today I have the honor to talk with Jon Kovach Jr. He's international motivational speaker, mastermind facilitator, and accountability coach. Today, I think there's not one person who doesn't need an accountability coach, because everything that is going on in our world, I'm pretty sure that you will find it valuable, even if you thought that you don't need one. So without any further ado, please help me to welcome Jon. So who is Jon? Share us your story.
Well, first of all, Ragnar, thank you so much for having me on your show. This is an absolute honor. I've been watching and following your show for a while now, and I've had several of my friends on this show before, and it's about time I made my way onto it to meet you, and just to be in your presence to have this conversation with you is an honor. So thank you. And I love what you are doing worldwide for women entrepreneurs, for business owners, and everyone else. It is so amazing that the information and knowledge that you can receive from your show can help people change their lives and take their business or their lives to the next level. So thank you. A little bit about me. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12 years old. My mom and I started a business together. We started selling candy and chips in vending machines. And then we moved on in life, and I started to mow lawns at age 14. At age 16, I decided, you know what, DJing sounds fun. Let me try to do that. And so I became a DJ and would DJ local weddings, local dances, church outings, and so forth. And my favorite, most impressive one was actually an 80-year-old's birthday party. That was my favorite DJ experience. Following that, I got into investments. I started working on microfinancing. I actually lived in the Philippines for a couple of years, where I learned the language of Filipino, or also known as Tagalog. Most people read it as Tagalog. And while there, I started doing some microfinancing, where I would teach young families. I'd give them $1,000 or more, and we'd teach them how to grow their business. And then, they would loan that money back. And it was so cool to watch people take off. And I got this idea. I said, man, if everybody had somebody who could help them walk step by step with their business and actually achieve the goals that they set, whether it be become an international photographer, or become a motivational speaker, or grow a business in finances, whatever it was, we were able to do that on small scales. So that launched my career in becoming a motivational speaker. I also do a lot of emceeing. I'll MC a lot of events, and I also love curating. That word curate's one of my favorite words. Curating experiences, which is allowing people to have that emotional and sensible experience in all that they're doing, so that they remember the steps, so that they can repeat the steps, and so that they can continue to have success at higher levels. And that's a little bit of my background. I'm just a regular old farm boy from Colorado in the United States. And I grew up playing sports, being as wild and as excited as I could as a young teenager. And I actually fell into personal development because I realized there was something more that you could do. If you were to live your life by the status quo, then you would always live at a level of mediocrity. But if you live your life beyond the status quo and you found ways to improve yourself, work on those around you, and work with those around you, that you would find yourself in positions that would actually get you to move beyond the needle and move beyond your industry. and you would have far more excitement and far more incredible opportunities in your life. And so that's my background. I really am just a regular old guy. I'm super approachable. I've got a really fun smile and a lot of energy. But what I've really learned along the way is that everybody deserves to have valuable connections, and turning those connections into the prosperity that we desire is how we should consider our next steps moving forward. And I love that. I love that about accountability. I love that about speaking on stage and connecting with people all over the world. I've recently had the opportunity to speak in front of quite a few entrepreneurial women audiences, including the Entrepreneurial Women's Empire here in Utah, which is in the United States. And that was an honor, because there are some incredible entrepreneurial women out there who are going to change this world, who are going to grow the economy in ways that we did not expect. And it's so cool because we need that. It's exactly what the world needs right now. And an awesome and an inclusive environment of both entrepreneurs and excited or inspired individuals.
Well, usually I invite my audience to get their paper and pen in a little further into interview. But if you picked up everything, that the golden nuggets were already in his life story. So if you don't have it, go now, run. The good thing is that this is a video, you can actually go back to it and listen to it and write down. But again, like we all know that there's science between the brain and writing down things. So I encourage you to go and do it. So we all already saw Jon's passion, which is like the energy that he's transmitting is absolutely motivational, as we can say now. But what would you say? What is today like? How would you describe what is your passion and what is your purpose in life?
Oh my goodness, I love this question, and I feel like the answer changes every day. But man, my passion, as every entrepreneur can relate with me on this. We have so many things that are so exciting and so many things that we'd like to achieve and accomplish. We can't just pick one. But my passion is helping people achieve their goals, right? When I became an accountability coach, we were working with 3 or 4 multi-level marketing companies throughout the world. And I would follow up over 2,500 professionals daily through text message. And I would just ask them, like, how are you doing with your goals? What are you learning? What are you having trouble with? And every single day, if I could just get a thumbs up or an emoji smiley face or a, hey, Jon, I'm having trouble with this. Could you help me out? Or what do you suggest in overcoming this challenge in sales? And if I could just give them one piece of information, even if I didn't know the answer, I'd be Googling the answer. How do I help this person, right? If I didn't know, I'd find out. But if I could relay that information to one person, and that person made a difference in their sales, in their business, and it at least made them smile or make them feel like they could do it, I knew I made the world a better place. So my passion is helping people achieve their goals. And I have several ways that I've achieved my goals in very, very rapid, successful rates that I teach. But even if I could get somebody to take one step closer towards their goal or their achievement, that's my passion. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of motivational speakers have this dream of influencing 1 billion people and helping so many lives. And I respect that. And I feel the exact same way. And I feel like the best way to do that isn't necessarily through a $1,000 coaching program or whatever, or what it could be. What it is, it's influencing people to take one step forward. And I've always been super passionate about that. And my purpose or my mission in life, Ragna, is to help people achieve goals and to recognize that they can achieve goals faster by surrounding themselves with the right people. A lot of people, we all know that you are the average of the 5 people who you hang around with. Now, when you take that principle and you have a choice of who you hang around with, wouldn't you want to be with the greatest people? Or wouldn't you want to be with the people who are most inspiring, or the people that are going to actually take your life to the next level? And when you have a choice, or when you have the ability to weed out those people and find the atmosphere and the environment in which you will interact with these people regularly, that changes the game for a lot of people. And so what I would say is that helping people find various peer groups, forms of networking that will actually help them find results, find prosperity, and actually get them paid, as well as surrounding themselves with the types of coaches and mentors that are going to help them move the needle in their life. To me, there is no greater cause for myself. And that is my life mission, is to get people in these circles to connect the right way and to find prosperity in the energy and the atmosphere and the curated experience that comes from their entrepreneurial focus and goals.
That's a beautiful answer. And again, there was so many golden nuggets there to write down, even from whatever you do in life or in business. I think the way that Jon really sees the life is something that every single one of us should at least have some items out of there. So we all are unique in our own way. And when people usually see the titles and they don't know you, it's like, oh, it's another motivational speaker, or oh, it's another coach, or oh, it's, what would you say? How do you distinguish yourself in business and in life?
Thank you. I love this question because everyone's unique and everyone's different, but how we explain who we are and how we're unique and different is an art, right? It takes a really, really understanding person and observant person to recognize the differences, but also the creative ways that they are different in the world. What I would say that makes me unique compared to other motivational speakers, to other coaches, is that I have been studying human interaction for about 10 years. When I started my entrepreneurial journey, I recognized that whether I was DJing, mowing lawns, putting food into vending machines, or helping people through microfinanced loans, whatever it was, I found out that human interaction and taking care of people is the answer to all problems, is the answer to all successes. And so when people go into business, they put on, and I should have grabbed different hats here. Almost fell over. Here we go. I got some hats. You ready for this? When people go into business, they're like, okay, here's my business hat, right? And they put on their business hat and they change who they are. They change how they interact. And then people go, all right, well, it's time to go networking. I'm going to put on my networking hat, right? And they put on the networking hat. And all of these roles that we take in the world of business or entrepreneurship, we do not have to change who we are. We get to focus on being ourselves and helping others and connecting in a way that creates prosperity. That doesn't change who we are. Our roles do change, but the way we act, the way we speak, the way we behave doesn't necessarily need to change. And so what sets me apart from a lot of other people is that we train people how to have absolutely incredibly memorable, fun experiences while networking and building relationships. And then we teach them how to turn those relationships into profits, into prosperity, into partnerships. And those three things, I believe, are some of the most important key factors of business. Because when I go to a networking event and everyone starts handing me a bunch of business cards, I say, thank you. I appreciate the tree that went into making this card. Can you tell me what you expect me to do with this card? And no one is ever prepared for that question. But when I ask them that, I am intentionally wondering what they want me to do. Do you want me to follow up? Do you want me to take you to lunch? Do you want me to say yes to whatever you want me to buy? What do you want me to do with your card? Because what I'm going to offer is, I'd rather us say, look, I appreciate the card. I'll keep this in a little baggie with all the other cards. But what I'd rather do is build a relationship with you. What are you working on? What is your vision? And you did this at the beginning of this session. Ragna, you asked me what my mission was, what my goals are. And I have learned that instead of talking about our past and what we've accomplished or who we are and what we've become, I love foreseeing the future and telling people what we're working on, what our vision is, what our goals are. And when you tell people what you're working on, you get so much more out of life and your relationships, because all of a sudden opportunities, ideas, people love to suggest ideas to other people. And one of the things, I have a great example about this. On my vision board, I wrote that I wanted to start a nonprofit business in the Philippines, and that business was going to be funded by a for-profit. And the for-profit idea, I thought, why don't I start a freshwater pearl farm, and the workers of the pearl farm will turn this pearl farm into a way to sell high-end pearl and jewelry to vendors across the world. And we'll teach these women entrepreneurs and these men entrepreneurs on how to assemble jewelry in a way that will get them to a lifestyle that will actually help them build their legacy in their families. And it worked. I just started telling people this, and randomly I got a call from a friend who said, hey, I'm going to introduce you to this guy in the Philippines. He's got a plot of land that's perfectly suited for farming. He wants to know what your idea is. I told him my idea, and he says, great, let's send over a few shipping containers and let's get started. And it just happened like that. So when you start telling people about your goals and your future, rather than here's my business card, let's connect another time and let's play that follow-up game. When that happens, you are already projecting an opportunity to work with each other in the future. You're already projecting something that you can do together, or that you can relish in each other's value together. So I love that principle. And I hope that wasn't too far off topic from your question, but I wanted people to know that the difference in others is the way you treat other people. You can put on the CEO hat, you can put on the networking hat, whatever hat and role you put on, you can do so, but you don't have to change yourself. And I think that that's the most important principle.
Exactly, and I appreciate that that you took to us one very important principle, which is it's not about us, it's about them. When you talk with someone, is to understand how I can serve you in order for us to really collaborate, to do things together. And really, I think and that's very interesting. I think that's where our disruption for whatever industry is hidden as well. And we see a lot now in the marketing field. It's happening, and it's leading the way that finally we understand that our web pages is not about us anymore. It's about how do we take care of the needs of the people that are looking for solutions, how we become the solution for someone, no? And I think what's still lacking, and beautifully that you brought that out, is that also not only with our website, we really need to have the change in our mindset also when we actually meet people, because that's the way of, and the main goal why we are connecting now. So it's to understand, okay, I have this need, you have that need, how can we both synergize that and make the energy flow, no? So beautiful. Thank you very much. I think that there couldn't be any better answer actually for that question. So I'm now very curious to see the rest of it, which I have prepared for you. So I know that through your experience and you're really focusing on habits, and I think habits become also a very crucial part when we are starting our business, and especially for startups. So what do you see? What are the common challenges that startup entrepreneurs find when they're building their businesses?
Well, the common challenges that I see are the common challenges that I've experienced in every single venture I've been a part of. And I love telling by experience, because from one entrepreneur to another, it is imperative that we share these resources, these experiences, these learnings with each other, so that we don't make the same mistakes. Entrepreneurs are oftentimes filled with that inspiration, that visionary feeling. And I believe it's so prophetic in that they see things that the world doesn't see. There's these creative, artistic things they create in their mind. And then we also call them the shiny object syndrome. When something cool enters the room, the entrepreneur goes, oh, I wonder how I can turn that into a business, or I wonder how I can, they start believing and thinking of higher power. And that's super important. Now, when it comes to habits and some of the most crucial parts of starting businesses or building and growing your business from wherever you're at is continuing to have that entrepreneurial mindset, but focusing on one thing at a time. We live in a world of automation. And everyone wants to automate everything, automate our emails, automate our responses, automate our processes and our systems. And while systems and processes are part of the structure, if you've ever read the book E-Myth, the E-Myth Worldwide, it's a great book about the different roles that people have in each business. There's the entrepreneur. There's the entrepreneur is usually the executive, but then there's the engineer, and then there's the other party that goes into building and constructing the outcomes for those. But as we get into business, some of the most important things is to develop a habit of focusing on one thing at a time. You see over my shoulder a bunch of books on the shelf, and I love to display two books that I am extremely passionate about. And I think when it comes to accountability, high performance, achievements, goals, and success, the first book you should read is The One Thing by Gary Keller. It teaches you to focus on that which is of most importance and that which is imperative to achieve your outcomes daily. We focus on a series of outcomes. And what outcomes are just a combination of processes and systems that create an outcome. But when you focus on an outcome first, you can reverse engineer that and understand what it is that exactly needs to go into the systems and processes that create that outcome. So if I'm seeking to achieve a business that earns, $20,000 a month, I can look that into the future and say, here's the outcome. How do I reverse that and do the math and do some, logistical thinking on how I create that? And if I just focus on that one habit, that one focus, that one activity that's going to get me to that end outcome, it simplifies the game of business. Many entrepreneurs, we get so excited about the future. We try to do everything at once because that's our personalities. It's, I got to do this, this, and this. If I stay busy, I feel like I'm being productive. I feel like I'm achieving things. I feel like I'm achieving my goals. But at the end of the day and years later, you'll find that you've fallen short many, many times because when you chase one rabbit, it's more likely to get it. But when you chase a dozen rabbits, it's likely you end up with none. And so one thing at a time is one of the most important principles. On stage, I tell a story about hiking into the Wind River mountain range here in Wyoming in the United States. And I talk about the gruesome or the horrible uphill climb for the first 2 miles of that trek. And I talk about how blisters and bloodied feet and sweat and all these really, really negative feelings that come from backpacking into the woods. And I talk about how the principle of taking one step at a time actually helped me walk 12 miles instead of 6 miles. And that goal in itself is exactly where we want to be. African proverbs often talk to us about, if you want to go fast, go alone. And entrepreneurs like, yes, let's go by myself, 100%. I'm running. Grab this along the way. I'm going to grab this along the way. And as we do that, we lose track of the one thing, the most important thing. And I love telling that story. I love sharing that because if you're an entrepreneur or if you're in the entrepreneurial mindset of building your business, focus on one task at a time. Tim Ferriss talks about the 4-hour work week. You can simplify your work week. And not that I would highly suggest a 4-hour work week. I would say that it is possible when you focus on the things that are of high importance. The other book I have over my shoulder is High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. And a lot of his theories and his principles complement Gary Keller's One Thing. Because when you focus on one thing at a time and progress in that aspect, you will find yourself closer. People are often like, hey, John, if I focus on one thing, there's 100 different things I'm leaving behind. The truth is if you focus on one thing at a time, you repeatedly get faster and better and more effective at doing one thing. And then your overall success is a lot greater, is greater than what you would have done if you chased 12 rabbits at the same time. And I think that that's just an important aspect and principle for everyone to remember when in business, whether you're at the highest level of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, or if you're just getting started, or if you're just writing a book. It's the same principle.
It's good that you added the I think I see a lot of people get confused there. Like it's like, yeah, but then the people say that you cannot hold your eggs in one basket and the focusing on one, and then you're like, yeah, but you don't really get the essence of it. Focus on one. You can have the different eggs, but allocate your focus on, okay, today, this day, I'm focusing 5 hours, let's say, only on getting this thing done. And I'm not taking all those six eggs and trying to put them in one day and thinking like nothing, like I was busy, but nothing happened. And then
Right.
you divide those 6 eggs. Okay, this is the day for this egg. This is the day for this egg. And that is, and whoever is watching and they already know me, then I have always said, the day that you start to manage your focus instead of your time, everything changes. Because the one thing, it doesn't matter that it doesn't really mean that the one thing is that you need to skip the rest, but focus on that one thing specifically when you do it. Not like I'm interviewing John and then I'm on the phone and then I'm doing this and then it's like, okay, what's the priority? What should I do? Should I answer this message which I have here? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm on an interview with John, and then I was thirsty. So, but when we really think of our day, we are like this, no? And they're like, oh boy, that was a day, like I was so busy. We are so addicted of distraction that it literally ruins our fortune. And people don't understand it. So it's when you really start to get the hang of it, okay, total focus. What does it really mean? Phones on silence. Your team knows that those are the hours that you do not enter my tight bubble of total focus, no? So you need to train people around you and you need to train yourself that you are not like notifications. Get rid of all your notifications. Communicate with your team. I'm watching or I'm taking my phone like this time and this time. So I absolutely love that you brought that out, and in a way that you, specifically the mountain example is beautiful, because now you understand that the big goal is to be there, but you need to do all those little steps, but focused, no? So that's really, really beautiful advice. And again, if you didn't write down, go back to this video and write down. So now we want to go deep dive in your very great experience, and let's talk about you as president of Amplified Minds. What is the greatest lesson that you learned as the president of the Amplified Minds? Might be that the greatest lessons is yet to come, but so far, what that has been?
Well, I have to compliment you, Ragna. This is such an amazing interview. You are so good at what you do by eliciting the conversations and pulling out the best in people. I just want to compliment you on that. And for all of those listeners, if you know anything about interviewing and broadcasting, Ragna has this incredible ability to reevaluate the stories and bring back everything to the focus at hand. And she's so good at teaching and coaching in that regard. So I wanted to compliment you on that. You're so amazing at this. This interview is so fun compared to any other interview I've been in because of your capabilities and your strengths and your talents in the way that you interview. And you asked a question about Amplified Minds and my journey with that, and what has, what is my greatest learning or greatest takeaway from that? And I will answer the question with, yes, the best is yet to come, but every day is that coming of the best. And every day you learn so much more. We started as a small mastermind company because we read Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And we read those books and we were like, wow, let's just do what they said and let's put it to action. And it worked. And then we started developing more opportunities for people to achieve their goals through accountability. And then we started coaching. And then we went into bigger events so that we could influence more people. And then we went back to mastermind groups. And then we went back to networking. And it's been such a fun evolutionary process because I wouldn't say we've ever chased the industry or we've chased the outcomes, but we have been focusing on that which we felt like could help more people with what we were trying to do. And my biggest takeaway, or one of the greatest things that I've learned in the process of being an executive for Amplified Minds, has been every decision we make does influence other people, whether you feel like you have, very few clients or not, or you have very few influence. The second you decide to change your brand or change your name, it influences people because of the way you treat and interact with them. I loved what you were saying earlier about, websites and how entrepreneurs and businesses have these things. Branding is important. Websites are important. Marketing, SEO, all of those things are important processes, but they're not the one thing that's going to move the needle. Those are pieces of the puzzle that will create a better outcome. And I've learned that the hard way because while we created a brand and we'd create events, the way that we built relationships in those events, we had an event that we did for a year and a half. It was a free event. People would come and network, and we would train them in mastermind methodologies from Think and Grow Rich. And as a result of that small event for an entire year, we helped people transact in their businesses, whether it was through sales, partnerships, or just creating big deals for each other. We helped people transact over $20 million in just less than 2 years. And that $20 million came from personal connection, having fun, and building relationships that were actually meaningful instead of passing out business cards. And to me, that was one of the greatest experiences, and still continues to be the greatest experiences. How much more good can we do by teaching and sharing with people how they will build relationships and turning those relationships into profits, prosperity, and personal growth. And I love that. And I feel like every day I get to be extremely selfish. This is the selfish part of it, right? You get to be extremely selfish because every day, if I'm not growing personally, if I'm not changing, if I'm not reading books and applying what I'm learning and working with other great people on what they're doing as well, I will be stunting what Amplified Minds is carrying into the future. I will be preventing what people will be able to experience on their own. And so personally and selfishly, the greatest experience of doing all of this has been my own personal development. And I have light years to improve, to grow to where I feel like I need to be to reach that overall projection. But at the same time, you find gratitude and joyfulness and happiness in the journey. And it's been so much fun. So I know that was an extremely vague and widespread answer, but it truly is the liberty and happiness that comes from running a business that focuses on the relationships of people. And that's been my greatest experience.
Beautiful. Let's talk about mentors and the importance of having one. What do you think, what makes the mentors unique? And in your opinion, why should we all have one? And who has been your greatest mentor, for example?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I probably have a different opinion on mentorship than anyone else you've ever interviewed. And here's why. In my professional career, I have had dozens of mentors. I've been in mentoring programs like the kind that you sign up for and you're assigned a mentor. And I've also had people who have just taken me under their wing voluntarily. And I like to put these people in different descriptions, because mentors are absolutely imperative to the growth of individuals. And the reason why is because we want to know where we're going. And Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile barrier, he had coaches and he had people to help him get there. But at one day, at one point in time, Roger Bannister woke up and he says, I'm ready. I'm going to push my body beyond its limits, and I'm going to break the 4-minute mile barrier. So he runs a mile under 4 minutes, for those who don't understand what that phraseology was all about. And when he did it, as soon as Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, there was somebody who had gone before every runner and had done it. And now that someone had done it, not even months, not even weeks later, high school kids, college kids, worldwide athletes were breaking the 4-minute mile. And it was a new standard. It was a new norm because someone had gone before you. And so if there are great goals, greatness that you want to achieve, it's best to do it by following a mentor, by looking down the road and saying, what I'm doing is unique, but I want to know who's done it before, who's achieved what I'm about to achieve. And that's who you want to pattern yourself after. Now, the mentor thing is interesting because if I want to be Bill Gates, it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to be able to get a hold of Bill Gates. I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, Bill, hey, let's have a conversation, right? I can't. I probably could if I tried hard enough, but the likelihood of that happening is very, very unlikely. And so what I love about mentors is, can you have mentors from a distance? Absolutely. Can you study mentors from a book? Oh, 100%, because they're likely the people who have done what you want to do. If what you want to do is greatness. And I love that principle because a lot of people feel like a mentor is Mr. Miyagi with the Karate Kid, who's going to be there with you every step of the way, who's going to watch you do your kicks and your workouts and kung fu fight, right? But at the same time, a mentor doesn't have to be there with you every step of the way. But the mentorship process is that there's somebody who has broken the record, who has gone the path before you. And the process of following that person is equal accountability. You are the most responsible person in the mentorship relationship because it is up to you to do that which that person had done, to understand what that person is telling you to do, to receive or to achieve that greatness or that success. It is up to you and you only to take the action possible and necessary and to find the resources to get you where you actually want to be. The mentors are already out there. There are great people who have gone before us. Now they have laid a foundation. And to become the mentoree, the recipient of the mentoring, you've got to take massive action. So in the topic of mentorship, Ragna, I believe that mentors are absolutely imperative. Some of my greatest mentors I've had in this world have been Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. I've been studying him for a while. I have religious leaders who I have been following as well. An individual who you had on your show recently, Mr. Eric Swanson. He has been an incredible mentor to me, and he's actually been one of those individuals. And I've been lucky to have an individual take me under their wing. I've had the mentorship and associateship with other great motivational international speakers like James Dentley and several other individuals. And I've had that opportunity, but what they've done for me is nothing compared to that which I have done for myself and taken action on what they taught me to do by laying the foundations and laying the path. It's up to the individual to take one step at a time down that journey to achieving that goal of success. And that's my answer on mentorship.
I think a lot of people also, especially people that haven't been really in a process of personal growth or neither in their business mastery, let's say. I know that a lot of people absolutely hate the word mastery, that it's so whatever. We don't get to discuss or debate on that, but would you also agree with saying that a mentor is someone that you just mentioned that has done it? You can take the mentor as a role model for you, what you want to achieve, but coach is actually the one that is there with you, sort of take you really by hand, and that's what accountability really means. So I think there's a lot of also people do not understand what is the difference with mentor and with a coach. They're like, so who are you? Are you a coach or are you a mentor? Like, it's like, okay, depending on not solely on what you want to achieve, but I think people don't even realize how that they do have mentor in their life, and especially those people that read a lot. No, so if you, for example, read a lot of John Maxwell's books, or you read Eric Swanson's books, or you read Sharon Lecter's books, like they become your mentors. So you want it or not, because you are consuming that, and obviously there's something that fascinates you, like you are fascinated with Napoleon Hill. It's the same way, and a lot of people do not really have the really idea that they are being mentored. Like not maybe in a way that we would always love to be, but we're being mentored. And then exactly like now, okay, I have the knowledge. How do I apply that into my life? This is where you need the coach. This is when you need to pick up the phone and call to John and say, John, I need the accountability coach, because this is what I want to achieve and I have no clue how. So the how is where you need the coach. But I think you will agree with me, and I want to clarify, because a lot of times I see also in the questions or comments afterwards, the interviews, like it's like, so do I need a mentor or do I need a coach, and what is the difference? So in order to clarify that, and I have seen a lot of those, then we covered that topic again. But let's move on. I know that I think most probably we could be hours here, and we still had so much to discuss, but let's see, what's the champion circle movement? What can you tell us about that?
I really appreciate you asking, Ragna. If anything, this was the most important piece that I wanted to achieve today in being interviewed with you. This is something I'm extremely excited and passionate about. While I'm running Amplified Minds, we have founded an organization and a movement called the Champion Circle. And the Champion Circle is the mastermind methodologies, the mastermind methodologies that create relationship outcomes in all business atmospheres. And so what we've been doing is with these events, with these accountability coaching and mentorship and speaking, we've been gathering data for over a decade. And with the data that we've recorded, we've created an environment, a movement, a way to connect, a way to network that's going to actually move the needle in your business. The number one frustration I hear from business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs is that they, one, go to these meetings and they receive a ton of business cards and then there's no action or no follow-up, or it's a very, very, winding process in how they, actually get something out of it. So changing the game of networking is so important. And I personally believe that the changing of the networking game is changing the way that we have relationships worldwide. Because obviously everyone knows that if we just had a little bit more love in this world would be a better place. And we all know that if there was a little bit more love, if there was a little bit more of caring and sharing, that this world would have less wars, this world would have less fighting, this world would have less disagreement, and we'd all progress towards something a little bit greater. And so the Champion Circle movement is focusing on a champion's mindset to winning at all costs. But winning doesn't mean you step on people to get where you want to be. Winning is taking people with you. African proverbs, once again, shout out to the proverbs here, is if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And there's the that John offers, and I am no prophet, I am no proverb, I am nothing, but here's my take on it. If you want to go fast and far, go with people who are interested and focused on the same thing that you are. And so Champion Circle is an organization that we established to create the type of networking that gets you to that relationship status faster than any other methodology. We do it by doing some fun recreational games, getting our heart rate up, really having fun and getting loose, but also, dropping our masks, taking off these role hats and focusing more focusing more on the relationship. And then we throw them into a mastermind methodology. And I won't go into too much detail because of what we do is very, very membership based and focused on an outcome. But what we do is we will teach people through the mastermind methodologies how to find outcomes and results in their life. And then following all of that, we built in the 4 levels of accountability. And I love sharing those because it goes back to what you were just talking about with the difference between mentorship and coaching, which is you at the end of the day, the most responsible person for their outcomes are themselves.
Yeah.
Number 2, if you want to enhance your outcomes, work with other people, like a peer, a friend, a family member, someone who can hold you accountable. 3, everyone should have a coach. Everyone should hire a professional coach. So shout out to the coaching community. This is that plug for you guys. Be available and be ready to help people in whatever niche that they have. And then last is group accountability. When you surround yourself with the right people, together you create the atmosphere that leads to success. So Champion Circle is a combination of a methodology as well as a network of champions. You, Ragnar, are a champion. I am a champion. We champion for things in our lives that we're passionate about. And so we need to do that through the outcomes that we create in our lives. We've actually have brought in quite a few real champions like Olympic athletes, world all-stars, and celebrity officials who actually help educate and train people on the methodologies that we create in this movement. But I wanted people to know that the most important piece of the Champion Circle is that we all are champions of something, and we all champion for other things. So that's the adjective and the verb of the word champion, because we must focus on that outcome which creates winners out of us and winners out of life.
Well, you should definitely collaborate with Facebook. And actually, before none of the people should be admitted to any of those groups. We should have the course what to do and what not to do. You know, the annoying people that take the authority and just push themselves, or you know, those people that come to your friend list. They haven't been even 2 seconds confirmed, and they already send you a link like buy my product, and then you're like, why would you even think that I need something like that? So it's really disturbing, and it's growing. I think we should really get to the masses in a sense, like what is ethical and what connection really it's a short-term game when you play the game like this, when you don't really connect and you're just pushing your agenda. So it's very annoying, and especially when it's like, and then they keep on going, like, why don't you answer me? You're like, what do you want me to answer? And the only thing you can do, like, block. It's like, wow. And it's getting worse. The last 2 months, it has been huge amount of, also it takes up your time because you need to go through all that. But there's a lot of things which I still want to ask you. And one, you mentioned the philanthropic side and Vietnam, that you have been, I think, honored to really support and be significant in that community. But is that the philanthropic work that you have been doing, and what is the most closest cause for you that you're supporting, or maybe even running it?
Well, and I love answering this because I love using the word selfish in a positive way, right? The selfishness in what we are trying to build here is that I can have relationships with incredible, absolutely amazing entrepreneurs worldwide. So the selfish thing is I want to have created connections with individuals who have absolute mindset on power and winning and champions throughout the world. And that to me is how I want to live my life. So that's the selfish answer. And for the selfless answer, the opposite end of that is, if I could have something that great, I know that other people would seek it and love it as well. And so creating that atmosphere, creating that movement for more people, that's more of the philanthropic movement in which we are trying to create here. There are greater things that can come out of this. I mentioned just by having association and putting people in a room and having them build relationships. We helped raise over $20 million. And that's just in like 18 months. And I know that people will never see that kind of number in their lives. And just to have access, just to be involved or inside a $20 million room, I think elevates people's life and lifestyle and their game. It also elevates their business. It elevates the value of their life, and it enhances their experience, their joyfulness, their happiness, their gratitude, because it puts them in proximity to that which is most important. And that's connectivity. That's connection with people that are alikeness, people that are different, people that have value. And that to me is one of the most important movements of this lifetime. And it's so vague and it's so unspecific to just say, yeah, I want 1 million people to come together and connect and have fun and build relationships. But it's more specific to say, I want people to feel the outcomes of a raised influence and a raised or an increased value proposition in their connections and in their relationships. I want people to feel joy and happiness everywhere in the world through who they know and who they do business with, instead of being forced into or pressured into relationships that cause them loss of heartache, loss of sleep, anxiety, and various forms of depression. I would rather us build relationships that last, relationships that move world economies and create outcomes that are far greater than ourselves, because that's how you move the needle. That's how you impress one person at a time, one step at a time.
I think also people do not understand the power that they have in order to really change the life in someone's life in their community. We always think that's, well, if I help that one person, what does it give? It's the same like with voting. My one vote, what does it mean? But what we saw here in our community, and with talking with all the different entrepreneurs and saying, you know what, if I help one family to get access and opportunities for work, and you help another one, so we are like 90,000 different small businesses. We're able to help 90,000 families in our community. So you want to tell me that this doesn't count? You do, and you can make huge impact in your community without you even acknowledging what power you really have. And then we were like, you're right, and we are right. And when we really would take the responsibility as entrepreneurs, as part of our communities, we can do so much. And yet we are just hoping that someone else comes and fixes our problems in our society. No? Well, now I want to know about your book. I know that you can't really disclose much because you are in a process of writing it, but obviously, surprise, surprise, the topic that you're going to reveal is...
Well, I love this, and I love the drum roll, right? The topic of which we'll be finishing this book, and I've been in the works of this book for probably over 3 years, is accountability. Accountability. And it's funny because the world, especially here in the United States, the word accountability is referenced as a doomsday word. It's like, accountability on Wall Street, make sure that make sure that the banks are taking, action and doing what they need to save this country. It's fascinating to me because accountability on a personal and on a professional and personal development is all about ownership, and nothing is greater than ownership. When you own something, now it's not owning assets and owning physical products, but it's owning up to that which you project, that which you want to achieve. And I love that principle. So coming soon to a theater near you and bookshelves and stores nearby, you will be able to access my book coming out soon on accountability. Now, I won't release the name. I won't release anything else. But if you would like some more information, please connect with me on Facebook, because I, one, want to engage with you and interact with you. Two, it would be a really cool opportunity for me to share with you some of the step-by-step things that I talked about in this interview today through a quick, simple ebook that I could send you for free. It's just a downloadable ebook PDF that talks about the 4 irrefutable laws of high performance and accountability. We talk about how, personal accountability all the way through mastermind accountability and how it can help you. And it's a very, very quick, essential resource to kind of gauge where you should start, where your first step moving forward should be in the process in which you're growing your life and your business at this point. And I love that because it's a quick resource. It's incredible. And I just can't wait to release it to the world. But I would also say, and this is kind of a funny answer to your question, I believe that everybody is building off of what other people have done before them. We are all raising we are all lifting up giants on our shoulders because of the people who have gone before us, right? And everything we learn is a principle built on another principle that we've learned from other people. And everything I've learned on relationships, everything I've learned on accountability, everything I've studied and I've gathered over the last few years on relationship development and personal development has gone into this. So I'm just really excited to share that. And thank you for disclosing that and allowing me to share that. That's something I'm very, very passionate and proud of.
Beautiful. So you that you're looking and you have stayed with us almost 50 minutes. Thank you for being here. Please share your comments, recommendations, and even if you have questions, do it now below the video. We are going to keep an eye on them, and for sure every question will be answered. But Jon, what are your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade?
Oh, this is great. I love this. I love this question. I'm so glad we got to this because I think it's very specific and it's very simple. The number one thing, if you are in business, the number one thing to dominate the decade and beyond, right? To infinity and beyond, to dominate the decade is first, join a mastermind group. Wherever you can, join a mastermind group. If you need help, touch base with Ragna, touch base with me. We can point you in the right direction. There are masterminds everywhere. But a mastermind is where you're going to surround yourself with the right people. You're going to take action and accountability on all that you're projecting in your life. And you're going to create unlimited outsourced outcomes in your life. And that's going to be the number one thing that's going to be a game changer that turns your life around and turns your decade into the next decade and the next decade of growth and prosperity. So that's principle number 1. Pretty specific. Join a mastermind group. If you need to know more, talk to Ragna, talk to me. We will point you in the right direction. I run a bunch of masterminds. I know that you're probably a part of a bunch of masterminds, but a mastermind in its truest sense will get you there. Number 2, the way to dominate the decade and beyond is to read books. Read books. And if you're not much of a reader, I promise you the combination of reading and listening will do just sufficient. Because if you were to read maybe a page or a chapter, but then listen to 4 or 5 chapters, it will do you wonders. Now, imagine this. Right now, I told Ragnar before this conversation that I had a Napoleon Hill obsession for the last while. I'm reading his book, Think and Grow Rich. And this is the manual size, which is why it's bigger than my face. And I've been studying it like a manual, making copious notes. And what if somebody promised you riches beyond belief? And you actually went through and studied what that person said and you put it into action and figured out that it actually works. I mean, the reason why someone published something is because it worked for them. Why not try it? So if there's something that you want to achieve today, that's the kind of book you should go after. If it's, I want to be better at marketing, I want to be a better speaker, I want to be better at business, I want to find wealth and prosperity, I want to have better relationships, I want to get married, or whatever it might be, go read those books and study them. That's principle number 2. Ooh, and then principle number 3. I can't wait to share this because I feel like it's a no-brainer, but it's funny how we have to remind ourselves as well as others about this. But principle number 3 on how to dominate the decade and beyond is to love other people. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. There's the principle of love, which is being yourself and being comfortable with yourself in the environment of people who are different than you. And if you can share differences and be grateful for that connection, that will change your world. That will dominate your decade, because the second you take yourself down off of Pride Rock and you put yourself in a room full of people who are different, experienced, and you can learn from, is the second you recognize that your humanity is definitely reliant on those who can influence your life in greater ways. So love people. And I use the term, and I'm careful using this term, because if translated into other languages, this term could be miscued. But I tell people to love people and to love on people. Now, let me preface on loving on people, right? When you love on people, it's emitting that love on people in a way that reminds you and reminds them that we are all human and we are all moving towards something greater. So love is the number one thing. If you can have a little bit more gratitude and a little less hatred in your life, I promise love will be found in every corner of that which you seek. And that will bring you greater prosperity, greater joy, and greater outcomes in every area of your life. Boom. If not the most important, it is one of the top 3 ways to dominate your decade and beyond. There you go.
Beautiful. So masterminds, join masterminds, read books, and love other people. So as simple as it sounds, as difficult as it sometimes it is to really take action on it and apply to your life, but don't just wait, start to do it. So if someone wants to follow you, if someone wants to contact you, how they can do so?
Super easy. I'm everywhere. I try to be omnipresent. You can find me on Facebook. I have a speakers page called Jon Kovach Jr. Speaks. You can find me there. I'm everywhere on Facebook. I have multiple groups. I'm part of many groups, a lot of speaker organizations and so forth. But if you go to @JonKovach Speaks, you'll find me anywhere on Facebook. I have the same tagline or handle on Instagram. It's Jon Kovach Jr. And you'll see my speaker profile and some of the stuff that I'm doing there. Those are the 2 easiest and greatest places, because if you find me there, it's likely that you'll receive a message from me, like me personally. I'm always connecting. Before our interview this morning, Ragna and I were communicating over Messenger, and it's the fastest way to get a hold of me, the fastest way to get a hold of our team, and to learn more. That would be the way that I would send everybody, is follow me, find me on social media. But I would also like to turn that around and say, if you aren't already, and this is your first time, go follow Ragna and everything that she's doing. This is an incredible organization. This is an absolutely phenomenal movement, and everything that they're doing and providing for the world and the lives that they're changing is something that you need to be a part of and that you need to be following. Because by following and just by the association, you will find yourself in a greater, more joyful and prosperous community than any other community I'm finding out there. I wanted you to know that, Ragna.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for your kind words. I want to thank you in this place also, Eric Swanson, which made this connection possible. So thank you, Eric, for opening the doors for both of us. And Jon, what would be the sort of your final message to close our interview? What would you recommend people to take as a one message out of this interview?
Well, knowledge is power. I've learned that knowledge is one of the greatest sources of power in this world, but power is useless without action. We have in our hands, we have on our bookshelves, we have in our brains some of the greatest power to move mountains and to overcome any challenge there is. And what I would say is that if you've learned something today, if you wrote something down, how are you going to take action on one of those things? Is it loving more people? Is it going and finding a mastermind? Is it picking up that book that's been staring at you with its eyes for days, maybe decades, maybe years? Whatever it is you're going to do, what is the one thing that you're going to take action on? I would highly, highly advise you and invite you to take action on one thing, and that one thing will lead to another. But I would ask that if you do so, do so in a way that will progress you towards that which you want to achieve. The most important thing that we can do today is to take one closer step to that which we want to achieve. And I think that as we do that together, we make the world a better place. It always starts with us. I always want to quote and end with my good friend. He's not my friend, but he's someone who I admire, Michael Jackson, and his song, the man in the mirror and the woman in the mirror. When you take that time to reflect, you take that time to take small actions and improving yourself, you make the world a better place. And that's what I would leave this conversation with.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Well, as you just heard, I cannot really close how I'm traditionally closing. And I traditionally close that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for writing down things. If you didn't, go back to the video and write down, but more importantly, just writing down, take action. So today, the taking action is emphasized so many times that if we didn't get to you, I don't know what needs to happen. But we do know that you are the only person who can save yourself. Because even if we want to help you and you don't want to be helped, then there's absolutely no one who can really change your life. So take action and become the hero of your life. But not only that, you can become the hero of someone else's life by sharing this video, because this video is full of teaching, golden nuggets, experience, visions for future, you name it. I think I have like 2 pages of notes which I made. Okay, so that doesn't really happen very often, but it did happen today. So become the hero of your life and in someone else's, and it just takes one click to do so. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for investing in yourself, and I will see you in our next episode. Thank you.